driving here is stressful.
I don't know anyone who could get a pump just from driving.
One time I got a speeding ticket because I went 35 miles on a 30 mile zone. And I wasn't trying to speed, like, oh, let's go.
I'm new to the bike at the moment, and it's just so easy to go that little bit quicker. Yeah.
Do you even notice the difference?
The difference to me will be that to that.
Yeah.
We're in so much trouble, and I'm so used now on the M1 to actually seeing where the speed cameras are.
Yeah.
Like before, I'm a good boy, I don't speed.
Yeah.
But now I know where the cameras are, and when you see people accelerate through them, you're just like, my guy. They do exist. It's just like, can you not see everybody else pulling back?
Yeah, really slow down. Okay, understandable.
All right, Sid, class 2, have you here. When we caught up last week, you put me on to a writer that I've not read all the way through, and I just had to look him up. So we got Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. So many good lines in it. I know you've got some that have caught your eye.
Mm-hmm.
I think even from the preface, and I've got one that we'll maybe come on to later, I like the notion of happiness must happen, and the same holds for success. You have to let it happen by not caring about it. What do you take from that?
Most of the time we start off with like a goal in mind, like, I need to get this. It's a form of like entitlement. So when we do something like, oh, I need to feel happy, for instance, winning a trophy in baseball, football, whatever it is, well, that's going to bring me happiness, making it like I'm entitled to this, rather than just saying, oh, I'm going to get then I'm going to be happy. Just doesn't work. I can say the same thing about me training, like, oh, if I get to this on bench press, if I get to this body fat, I'm going to be happy. But then I get there, I'm like, where's the happiness? Does that make sense? Other times, I'll just literally randomly come in and just look at the mirror like, wow, my arms look really nice. And that just makes me really happy. And it just happened versus expectation will just lead to, most of the time, disappointment.
You've been competitive at getting to a body fat percentage. When you reach that point, are you any happier for it? Obviously, you've won competitions.
Yeah.
Like, what's your background in bodybuilding?
I started back in 2019. I did junior bodybuilding, under 23s. Didn't quite achieve what I wanted to, in terms of like the placing. I came 5th. There was a big lineup of about maybe 12, 13 lightweights. Yeah. And I came 5th. And I did get an invitation to British finals. But at that time, I was like, if I finish 5th at the qualifiers, how can I win the whole thing? And then COVID happened. And then after that, I competed again. Did it in 22. And I did achieve a lot of things. But going back to the question of like, how did I feel when I actually get to that level of body fat? Or when I get to there, when I get chiseled abs, vascularity everywhere, I am going to be really, really happy. But the truth is, when you do get there, it's just about, you appreciate more of like the hard work that's leading up to it. The days that I said no to, say, social aspects of things, no to certain types of food. Because yes, you can do flexible dieting and then actually get the result. But at the same time, it requires a lot of willpower. When a chocolate bar says it serves 2,
yeah.
Does it serve 2? Does that make sense? Do you have the willpower to serve it 2 times? Yeah. Is the real question. So for my bodybuilding journey, I always used to keep it the same every single day. I knew I would have. And I did not eat the trigger food that would literally want me to just eat more and more. So going back to that point, just like saying no to certain sort of activities, food, that is what truly, really meant a lot to me than actually going on stage, getting that body fat. But it was nice. I looked at the pictures like, wow. But getting there, for me, I valued the hard work leading up to it than the actual place itself. It's not the destination, as they say, it's the journey for me. Yeah, I think that is what brought me happiness than the actual end goal in itself.
Which is huge, isn't it? If you enjoy the journey, then where you end up almost doesn't matter.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because to this day, for me, every single time I look back, if I were to open up my trophy cabinet, got quite a few actually, I look at them, I don't see myself as like, ooh, it was a guy who was really ripped, strong. And I look at a guy who was very resilient, who said no to a lot of things, a lot of distractions, to the friends, family, food, so many things. You said a lot of no's, where you would otherwise say yes. Yeah. And that's what I look back at, rather than like, ooh, I've got a trophy for bodybuilding.
To get to that level, to be elite, to be a champion at something, there will be imbalance. And this is a thing that keeps on coming up, that to be really good at something, you really have to focus. You have to put more energy than you would into other things, into this thing.
You almost have to be addicted to it, especially if you want to get to like a certain level, lost in the moment. Eating it, you're breathing it, you're sleeping it. So if I were to use it in bodybuilding context, you've got your training aspects of it, you've got your nutrition aspects of it, your rest, your flexibility, your posing. There's so many things, and there's only 24 hours in a day. You're going to sleep about 6 to 8. And then after that, you're going to do your work, your workout, and all those others. And it does provide a lot of imbalance. but then it's for the greater good. You will actually pay off when you get to the end goal. Voila, you're gonna be like, I worked hard for this. I've earned the right. You almost like you took it rather than like, oh, give me some handout. I've earned that.
Yeah, like you happened to life didn't happen to you.
Yes, sir.
Having agency is really important. If people feel like they've had their future taken away from them or they can't impact their future, which is something that Frankel talks a lot about, and obviously that's a very specific circumstance. He saw that when people didn't know that they were going to be able to leave the camps, they lost all hope. They wouldn't get up, they wouldn't talk to people. And what he's describing more or less is depression. And unless you can set a goal and work towards it and have this focus, this drive, put energy into something, then life probably will be quite difficult.
And as he talks about in camp life, like that, they did not know what the future holds. They didn't know if they're going to survive. There was no reason to wake up and what to live for. When we are no longer able to change the situation, we are challenged to change how we see things, our perspective. And that's one thing I've taken away from it, just being able to change, because life, it doesn't happen according to you. It just happens. You expect one thing to happen one time and a totally different thing happens. You're not in control of it. And, to have that adaptability of it, and as a human being to be resilient, come whatever may, I am able to adapt, is what this book taught me. I don't know based on if you believe in God or not, but I feel like he's given me the capability of whatever trouble that comes my way, I'm going to be able to take it head on. If not, I'm going to give it my best shot. And again, that in itself gives me the purpose. There's something coming. I'm going to get prepared for it. Physically, mentally, spiritually, every way possible.
And on that, you've got an iconic surname, haven't you? What does religion mean to you? Does it play a factor in your life? How do you approach religion?
So, first of all, do I have faith in God? So I am a Muslim, and that is like by choice. I mean, in my heart, I do believe in it. And I think having some higher being up there, it gives you that hope that that meaning we're talking about. Sometimes you may feel like the world is against you. And you can just literally sit down in your room and you feel like there's someone up there that you can actually talk and be open. Just be yourself, be naked. Not
I get what you're saying.
There's no judgment whatsoever, because God already, for me, I think he's all knowing, he's omnipresent, he's everywhere. So there's no hiding from him. So you can just be unapologetically yourself, and you can confess the sins or some of the things that you feel like you've done wrong, and you can have a bit of faith and a bit of hope. It almost gives you that purpose of like to literally carry on striving. There's something better is coming along the way. Worst case scenario, we die, and if it doesn't exist, but at least I had that faith. Something is guiding me, something is helping me along the way. Do I believe? I do. And do I practice? I meditate a lot. I try to connect in the form of praying. I will just sit in my room. I would actually speak to him when I'm alone, of course. If my housemate is in, then I just do it. But yeah, it does give me, and in terms of like for my mental health, I feel like having faith in something does definitely help me. Again, being looked after by something that's a lot more powerful than me. Whether it's real or not, that's a different discussion.
Something that I've noticed from knowing you, from this conversation even, is the idea of teams. Whether that's with your housemate, who we both know and love, whether that's working with you in Sheffield city centre, Liverpool you don't stop talking about, and believing in something that's bigger than you. I think even the way that you are with your clients, you have community and society in fitness. Do you find that you are strong because of other people? How does it work for you?
Yes, so that's actually a great observation. So I guess you have been paying attention to the things that I do. Have you ever watched Planet of the Apes?
A couple of them. Yeah.
Apes together strong. What I mean by that is, this is for me physically, I would say I'm fairly healthy, but mentally, when you can actually sit down and speak to people and you can actually share your experience in life, because in the end we all experience life differently. We probably have the same juice right now, but you probably have different palate to me. But experience wise, whether it's your clients, whether it's your friends or your colleagues, sometimes in life you can actually feel a bit isolated. You're like, why is this happening to me? Why did my leg have to get injured? I had this powerlifting competition. I had a marathon run. My ligaments when my Achilles popped. Why always me? And then you speak to other people and you're like, you know what? Wow, there's a lot of us going through a lot of battles, and it's not to like, it's more to do with, wow, we're all in this together, and you're not just alone in here. We're all going through struggles. Some of us are better at hiding it than others. And when you do literally talk to the clients, your friends, it is really nice to know that you're not weak for you to actually go through these sort of stuff. And when you do actually speak to them and that comes out, you actually like, I'm a human being. I'm allowed to have those feelings. I'm allowed to have things not work out, try something and mess it up. It's okay. And we share those experiences together. For me, as a team, we share those. And the reason why I say as a team is because these people trust me and I trust them just as much. So I can actually openly be myself again. And it just helps me to actually be even better version of myself. And how far I've come and how far I'm going to go is thanks to these people. My friend Abdi, my friend Ola, my clients. You know, there's something I'm not allowed to mention, but something big is coming up soon. And it's all thanks to my client, Sally. Her and the daughter actually spoke into existence for me, like, oh, you'll be good at that. You know, oh, you're really strong, or you're really agile, you'd be amazing at this. And when someone else says and encourages you, you actually start doing more and more. So yeah, I've got so many things to thank my clients and my friends for.
You're training for a marathon and you're going climbing. You're building evidence of being the things that people have described you as, that you'd like to think you are, but it's not arrogance on your part. You're proving it. You know, I saw how ripped your hands were from climbing.
Still recovering that.
Yeah, do put chalk on next time, that's all I would say. But the point is that you're just like, okay, cool, somebody said that I'm agile, and it would be really helpful for this thing for me to be agile. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to practice something that will show to me whether I am or not. And if I'm not, then okay, cool. Climbing's great for it. You can start at level 1.
Yeah.
And you can do level 1 until it feels good. And then you can go to level 2. And you can tick things off like that. And you give yourself these little goals that are easy to achieve at first, that prove that you are capable of getting better at something. And then over time, you have the evidence to back up the thing, the compliment at first, but then also now with the belief that you can, that you are that person.
If you were to give me a compliment, say in the past and stuff, oh, you look amazing, I'd just be like, oh, that's just Jack being nice, you know. I'll say thank you, but I wouldn't believe it, you know. And then, as you said, like with these sort of stuff, like a lot of the time, I would be like, am I actually this, or have they just not found the real me? But maybe that is me, you know. Why am I not believing it? You know, the proof is in the pudding. It's there. People are saying it, and I've got it in physical evidence, and just me doing those, ticking things off, it just makes me believe in myself a little bit more, and my self-worth actually goes a little bit more. Again, not arrogance, but confidence, you know, believing in myself a lot more.
Yeah, you've got the evidence to back it up. If you just said you were a thing but couldn't prove it, then I think that's arrogance.
Yeah.
But knowing that you can is confidence. And that's different. I think if you can sit back in a room and be quiet and know that you can do whatever is needed, then that's confidence. If you're in the centre of the room saying you can do everything, that's arrogance.
Yes, sir.
And I've never seen that in you, which, you know, is something that I value, and I think something that your clients definitely value. When you look at your client sheet, you're talking about the kind of responsibility that you feel for enabling others. You know, some clients might not have time like you and I have, for instance. Could you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. You know, one thing I would say is, and you know, and shout out to all my clients that literally say single fathers or single mothers when they're in a single parent household. It's very, very difficult to actually get training in, you know, because your life is not just about you. Like me and you, we can just literally go out, go to training, go for a run whenever we like. Midnight. I've been for a run at 3 a.m. one time, believe it or not. Crazy. But with some of my clients, their time is so limited and they're so tied down. And this is where, when you mentioned about balance before, for me, I do like to strive for balance, but at the same time, I know there are some people out there who really would love to train and would do anything to train, but they just don't have the ability to actually do it because of the fact they can't get childcare at the right time, or they only got a particular time that's free, that I would regard as unsociable hours for working. But I try to like give that up. Like for me, I say, you know what, my balance can go to one side, my sleep can just wait for an hour. But I know deep inside they all appreciate, because I know how much fitness means to me and what it does for me. I would not do it if they didn't actually have that same sort of mentality. You know, if someone just didn't care about it, that's different. But because they genuinely care and they want to train, I'm like, you know, my balance can wait. And as you said, feeling that imbalance, to know what balance is, to go out and just actually help them out. This is where the purpose comes from. You know, I've had that impact on someone's life, and you can see from their effort level at the gym, you know, the gratitude they show towards you, or the cost a gift card they give you. But you know, it's really, really nice, the fact that you can actually, you know, you had a direct impact on someone's life where like it's really difficult for them to actually get the time to do it. And I do get a lot of like thankful messages from my clients, and it gives me a reason to wake up every single morning. Like, you know, I look at text like that, I'm like, wow, you know, this is why I do it. You know, this is amazing. You know, it's not just for, say, business. I have to pay the bills, of course, but it's not just for that. I actually have had some form of impact on their physical health as well as their mental health. You know, and That makes me a proud coach.
We can move things for other people, but it's almost like that moment if the oxygen mask comes down in the plane, you've got to put your own on first before helping somebody else. You are putting it into practice now in a way that maybe I've not known you for. So what's your approach to it at the moment?
So at this moment in time, I totally agree with you. You said, and that's such a great analogy, by the way, the oxygen thing. If you're going to help others, you better look after yourself first. It has affected me personally and in my personal life in terms of maintaining a relationship with, if I'm dating somebody or my friends, like they would ask me, oh, are you available? You know, and majority of the time, and if you look at the population, majority of the people do work like Monday to Fridays, and Saturdays and Sundays they tend to have off. That's when you socialize.
Yep.
But for me, at this, even to this day, I'm working. I've just literally come back from work to do this podcast, which I'm enjoying, by the way. But it does take a toll on you. You feel like, oh, am I non-stop going to be working like this forever?
Yeah.
Am I going to lose those friends? And because at the end of the day, grass grows wherever you water it, or whether we need some sunlight as well, I guess. And you need to keep other things in life as well, your friends, your family, your relationship. You need to pay attention to that as well. And although you're trying to help other people, be sure to help yourself along the way as well. As days went on, I've learned to say no. Before, like, can we do this day on a weekend? If it's actually a desperation, absolutely. If not, I value my time. I need to literally look after myself. And these are the days I do it, so I cannot do it for you now.
It's endemic in the PT community that you probably will work 6 days a week, and some people will be working 7. And I know for me that when I got to Sheffield and started doing PT full time, that, you know, we'd have the shifts for the gym, we'd have our in-person clients, and maybe you have some online element as well. Because all of my clients are catching up with me on a Sunday, and I was Monday to Friday in the gym, I had to make sure that Saturday was ring fenced, and so nothing was supposed to come in on Saturday. Otherwise, I just wouldn't have been able to deal with the rest of the week. And then I started studying as well. And yeah, that Saturday just had to be a contained thing for nothing other than relaxing. Because when things did start to bleed into it, it just felt like I was always on. And I know that that would then have a knock on for my online clients, which would then have a knock on for my physical, you know, in-person clients. And then it all kind of feeds downwards. It's that depressive cycle. Whereas by asserting your boundaries, by saying, no, this is my time and I'm going to keep this free, everybody got to a point of respecting that, not taking the mick, not texting you on that day, or if they did, they would understand that you get back to them on Sunday and then you reset. And I think everybody was better for me saying, no, I need this. And until that point, and this has happened in relationships, this has happened with my family, this has happened with friends, until that moment where I said, no, I need this is my boundary. It might be difficult to assert your needs to begin with, particularly if you like pleasing people, you know, and you do your best to fit clients in whenever you can. But the moment you say, no, I need this, and you say it in a way that is sincere, and it's not about impacting anybody else, it's about bumping you up, I think people do respect that.
I was reading this article the other day, saying if you say yes to something, so say like a client wants to reschedule and walk into your free time, you say no to every other possibilities. But when you say no to that person and you want to have that time for yourself, you have yes to so many different possibilities because it's open. All right, as the moment you say yes to something, you're already committed now. That time is gone. You cannot say yes to anything else.
Yep.
But the moment you say no to one thing, you literally got possible to so many yeses. The people-pleasing aspects of it. I bought so many plastic bags for a packet of chewing gum. Like, who does that?
Yep.
You know, why? Because the customer service assistant asked me, would you like a bag? The easy answer would have been no. She wouldn't have been offended. And same with clients. If you say no, because, you know what, as you said, to look after yourself physically and mentally, be in tip-top shape, they will not take it personally. But in our minds, and a lot of PTs, they're literally like, oh, would they think like, oh, they don't want to train with us, or am I not being flexible enough? You know, no, that's not the case. There's more like, oh, totally understand. Can we just pick it up next week? Problem solved. And you're rested. You're in the peace of mind. You know, you're not overcompensating. You know, you don't go into next Monday thinking, oh, when was the last time I actually had a sat down, maybe watched this episode of The Office? No, you're just there like week to week to week, and before you know it, months have gone by, and you're like, I've had no time for myself. So just saying, having that bit of time for yourself, having that bit of balance where, you know what, this time I'm going to do whatever. And you know what, Jack, you said about studying, and this was one thing as of late, for me, I almost felt like I was obliged to study. But as of late, I said to myself, no, that free time is for me to do whatever. But one way or another, I end up just reading.
Yeah.
You know, does that make sense? But the things I want to read, I usually have that Saturday as well, because Sunday is my check-in days usually for my clients. Yeah. So Saturday, I will have that time for me, and I'll keep it open to do whatever I like. And majority of the time, I will like, laptop is easily accessible. read an article about anything and everything, does Bigfoot exist? Perhaps clients will come with so many difficulties, and sometimes you're like, "Ooh, I'm not very knowledgeable on hyperthyroidism." Is a big thing as of late. I've never actually dealt with clients like that before, but as of late, it's been coming up a lot more. So let me touch up on that, so at least I can somewhat sympathize with them when they mention certain things. And when I get that sort of thought, it's not study in terms of like I have to do it. It's more like, oh, I'm curious.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, even if I read a story or the Bible or the Quran in English, my vocabulary gets better. And Jack, I'm sure I've told you before, I wasn't even born in this country, so my vocabulary was just tiny, and we recycle words, same words over. So reading certain things, it just improves my vocabulary. Again, going back to when I'm doing classes or when I'm PTing, I can encourage people differently. It just feels a lot more natural, and I can express myself in so many different ways. My purpose to be able to express myself, and through fitness, through actually saying things, bringing it to existence. That's what Saturday is for me to develop myself in whatever way I want.
What's your word of the week?
Word of the week. Oh, that's a good question, actually. Discombobulated was the last word.
Yeah.
So I need to learn to put it into the sentence, but I guess it's more like confused. One thing I started reading a little bit is poem as well through it, and I think it's almost like a song when you're having a conversation with somebody. It's not about delivering big words, understanding how to actually fully use that word. That's what I do, and it's none of that is study. I'm willingly going out my way to do it rather than I have to do it.
Yeah.
It's not forced.
No, it's play.
Yes, that's what it is, Because at the end of the day, there's so much you can do, Jack. And I think being active, and I think we're just adrenaline junkies. Like we like seekers, adventures. We want to do stuff, whether it's running, dancing, singing. Very active people. Into not just physical, because your body can only take so much. Mentally, how can I still stimulate myself? And learning new words, reading something, watching a play or a movie that you've never actually seen, or a genre or play that you've never watched. Yeah. It's always really nice. Again, it just opens up the horizon for yourself. Because how much are we going to really experience in life if we just stay in a little box?
I think learning languages is a good way as well to get a different take on the world.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you understand that, this was an example that I got, Taubengrau is a German word. It means literally deaf grey. But if you were to look at it as an English person, this deaf grey, this Taubengrau, you would call it duck egg blue.
Duck egg blue.
Yeah. So the idea that one set of people could call something grey and another call it blue, we're seeing the same thing, but we're using different language.
Yeah.
So it's our language that shapes our perception. So then by learning another language, you get another take on the world.
That is honestly. And again, we're going back to that perspective side of things, isn't it? And I think if I were to relay it back to my personal training, things like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I almost felt like I needed to, and I knew everything, And that was the perspective I had of like, oh, I need to at least come across I know everything. And now I can openly, with the camera being in front of me, I can say I don't. I'm open and honest with my clients. Sometimes they ask me a question, I don't pretend to know. I'm like, you know what? Just give me 5 working days. Then I'll pretend to be an expert, And I think when you do that, mate, you feel free again. And because this is what it is. It's learning. If you never come across something, how on earth are you going to know? And being open and honest about it, and reading things, learning new things, whether it's languages, whether it's politics, whether it's studying about physiology, nutrition, whatever it may be, it's okay not to know. And when you do know, you're like, ooh, all this time I thought I know a lot, I don't know anything. And you can same go for life. Yeah. How we experience things here in England, rainy, sad and depressing, the Spanish probably won't express the same way, because they got such beautiful weather and women, but the point is, it's just like different perspective, isn't it? And then I think just the more you learn, you kind of know, oh, we're such a tiny speck of dust here. We should strive to see as much as we can, learn as much as we can, be open to a lot of stuff, whether it's religion, languages. Being openness is so fun. We don't need to pretend to know everything, because I'll speak for myself, I don't. Even if I were to, you got a book over here about is a physiology, the marathon running.
You've got marathon and the anatomy
of strength. When my client says, "Can I improve my strength?" I'll be like, "Look, I'm not a strength coach, but I can actually help you get stronger. But if you want to truly be strong, I probably may not be the suitable. I'll try my best. And if that's okay with you, come join me. If not, find a proper strength coach." And being open about it, and guess what? I can go back and read those books and learn. And it is really nice to actually have that mindset of like not knowing stuff.
Something that was huge for me, 2023, being made redundant from my digital marketing job. I'd been online coaching for a little bit, and I get to Pure Gym, and I've done my interview, and I'm going to meet you all for the first time. And ultimately, we're in a warehouse in a car park, aren't we? Like, that is what the gym is. It's a warehouse in a car park. It's not auspicious, it's not grand. That's where I'm going to work and I'm going to learn. And I go into that not scared about anything. There was no point in me being worried that I didn't know everything, because I looked at that PT board and you had yourself and Luke at the time as bodybuilders. And, you know, I really like bodybuilding style training. And then you have Abdi as a strength coach, and you have Carl doing mobility and functional training. It's just like, okay, cool. These people, as much as they could be competitors for PT clients, they're also my teammates. And from these people, I'm going to see a different way of training. It's another language. You know, so I'm interested in bodybuilding, but I've not competed. I'm interested in strength training, but I've not competed. I'm interested in moving better, yeah, but I've not done functional training. So I would watch how you guys all coach your clients and go, okay, cool, that's really interesting. Sid, what are you doing there? Or I would ask Abdi to show me how to set up on a bench. And I would say to Carl, that's just weird, stop doing that, man. But between us, I felt that we were always picking bits that we could apply to our own training, or saying, I don't know if that is quite right from my understanding, but I've tried it and I've got some evidence to say why I think that. And then we'll keep on going and keep on building each other up. And I think had I not landed in that gym, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now, and just loving it and enjoying it still. I'm wanting to go in a different direction, but that was foundational for my understanding of the body and, as you say, not knowing and that being okay.
Research is literally coming out every single day. Like what I used to preach, say, 6 years ago, I probably have an opposing belief to it now. You know, like before, mobility, such a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. It's all about lifting heavy. And now I'm literally preaching that as much as I can. Me doing a little bit of Muay Thai and stuff, I understand how much like flexibility matters. You know, doing a marathon right now, you know, making sure after the runs I've done, make sure I stretch out, you know, because the next day, oh my God, the soreness is unreal. You know, I just feel stiff everywhere. But if I've done stretches and I carry on doing it for the following few days, my recovery is far, far greater. By the time next run comes around, you know, it's just so much easier. And I'm like, you know, I'm not even worried. I'm like, I'm fully recovered. Let's go. And you can actually build your own little things. There's certain things you may have disagreed in the past with it, but you kind of like get an understanding where like, it makes sense now. And then I can add that element of it to my life. And then guess what? You get your own complete set of like, okay, now I can do bodybuilding. I can do a little bit of strengthening. I can do a bit of mobility work, conditioning work. Add them all together. Wow, you literally got a bit of everything. And you know, it's really good. Yes, if your life goal is to be a marathon runner, go ahead, just focus on your marathon running. But for myself, I want to be pretty well-rounded. And as you've seen, as I've started doing that, and why not add each element to it? You know, and I think that's how you get the best result anyway, in the long run, you know? Being strong, having a strong glutes, you know, having strong legs, it's going to transfer to your sprints, your runs, you know, and just being strong in general, it's going to prolong, you know, how you age in life. You know, having the muscle, you know, it's well, you're going to look good. You know, you'll feel confident. So each element being added to it, it just makes you that complete being. You know, sometimes the clients will come to us and be like, oh, I want this. But really, do they really want that? They just literally heard that from the internet. I just want to be toned. What does tone mean? I literally try to ask my clients define what toned is.
100%.
You know, and I'm sure you probably do the same thing because it's such a subjective term. And I always say when like my client says to me toned, I say, you know what, less body fat, a little bit of muscle. And how does that come? You know, oh, it's through weight training, it's through resistance, it's through improving posture. You know, and you literally speak to them. They're like, oh, it's more than just like losing a bit of weight. It's not just that, because if you just lose weight, and you haven't worked on building that muscle up, and you're just doing cardio all the time, you still don't look like the tone look that you're looking for. You know, because we just see that on the internet. Oh, do a bicycle like this with dumbbells, and I'm like, what does that target? TikTok, Instagram, celebrities and stuff like that, they'll see those and they would want to be that, and they think that's the way to do it. But is it really? And I'd rather make the mistake for them. You know, I'll take the sword and then be their shield, and then go from there and build on from there. But yeah, it's fitness in itself, you know, it is such a nice thing, like to know there's so many elements to it. You know, it's not just me having big biceps is a way, like, oh, look at me, I'm fit. No, there's so many aspects of fitness. Like I go to yoga, oh my God. So the guys and the ladies will just show me up. Like I can stand on one leg, no problem. But if you ask me to do it for like 60 seconds, suddenly my balance is all over the place. You know, and it humbles you. And again, it's okay not to be good at everything.
What ultimately then, Sid, does fitness mean to you?
As cheesy as it sounds, I just can be myself, dance around, and I just feel like I belong in a bar, you know, and not the club. Doing pull-ups and stuff like that. Anytime if I go missing at the gym or Costa, that's where you'll find me. So yeah, it's a way of life for me, and I know a lot of people say that, but I like to say I live it. You know, whether it's nutrition side of things or even just like fitness, that I'm trying to develop different aspects of fitness and I want to take on board. And in the future, you know, if I were to leave a legacy behind, it's not about me being popular and having a blue tick next to my name. It's those people around me. If I can have the impact on them, my friends and my family, I would be a happy man in my grave.
Be a bloody large coffin. I've seen your shoulders. So I reckon, Sid, we've got this to finish, both of us, and maybe the big thing is something that can be spoken about later down the line.
Yeah.
Between now and then, if people want to catch up with what you're doing, where should they go?
Obviously, they can actually walk into Pure Gym, Sheffield City Centre South. I'm literally almost there all the time, whether it's me training, grabbing a coffee with my mates down there, or just training my clients. Social media, if they go on impact.training, they can find me there. If they had any questions, you know, about anything fitness related, or if just someone to talk to in terms of like, I think sometimes it could be a lot daunting with fitness. Oh, he's in shape, so he must be very judgmental. The reality, that's not the truth. You know, I think fitness community, there might be like one or two odd people out there, but generally speaking, we know how hard it is, and we know how long it took us, and you know how much it helps you mentally. Well, we were at first. We know how much effort and gut it takes to get started. You know, at least for mine, you know, me being a small man, literally, I literally thought I was good for nothing. You know, I had my insecurities, and through fitness, it helped me build that confidence up. So if someone is literally just needing to talk like, oh, what it's like to be involved in fitness, you know, they can just literally ask for my advice, what to look out for, what to do, and you know, are we judgmental? They can actually ask for my perspective, and me being involved and me going all different direction into bodybuilding, just working in a gym environment. Now going for a marathon run. Obviously, previously I've done 10Ks, half marathons, 5Ks as well. I like to think I bring a lot of experience. So if they got any sort of general question about fitness or what it's like, they can just reach out to me there, or my personal account, Sid15021997, and that's more to do with dog photos.
I will need to get a session in.
Yes, sir. That would be great. I don't know how you feel inside, but there's this aura about yourself. You're just very calm, and I want to get to that state. How can I be like this? You know, and it's almost like you're so laid back. And it's not that you don't care, but it's like you're here, but you're in the moment. Whereas me, sometimes I can be like, ooh, it's a bit like I've had too much caffeine, which is something I do. But just that peace, mate, and you know, and I feel so comfortable, and I can see, you know, like this is where on life coaching and fitness, how people be drawn to yourself, you know, in terms of this guy, first of all, like your knowledge is on point. Okay, like I've spoken to so many times. You help, like I read or I listen to you, and I'm like, oh, I need to maybe learn about this. And it's just, I just want to listen to you, if that makes any sense. You know, you got that aura about yourself, and I think just literally us talking, meeting up more frequently. Honestly, man, I do appreciate it. And that imposter syndrome that we talked about last time. You know, I just feel like that. But like when you mentioned it, I was like, oh, I can actually be myself almost. So I feel like Jack can bring the best out of me on camera, because you know nowadays everything is done through social media, like advertisement, whatever it is, you know. And as soon as even if it's just me by myself, if I put the camera on there, suddenly everything's a lot more tense. I was like, you know, if Jack's there, man, I kill two birds with one stone. I feel comfortable, you know, and his calmness just makes me be a lot more calm. You know, I was like, I've got to take that opportunity, Jack.
All love, it goes both ways.
And thank you, honestly, it means a lot. And as I said to like, I felt like I can be me. That's so nice. You know, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cheers, my man. Thank you.
Cheers, sir.